Welcome to Hollywood Hemptress Hour. We have a great show. Today, our special guest, I know you're going to be excited to see her, is January Thomas, stand-up comedian, also a part of the American Hemptress live show. She was just recently on reality television talking about moms who smoke pot. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Imagine a town where there are no small joints, just small stoners, where Kush is a girl's best friend, and law-breaking is the new liberty. It's the Hollywood Hemptress Hour, hosted by your honey blunt Hemptress, Terry Joyce. Yeah!
So hundreds of thousands of people have been signing petitions to secede from the Union. And there's been some states, like for instance, like Texas, has Austin, and Austin goes, hey, well, you know, if you want to go, we're still in, and they want to stay. So it's like, is that, you know, does that become like Texas squared, Texas or Little Texas? I mean, it's not the big state anymore. It's like we're just little. We're the cool Texans. We're staying with the program. I find it unusual. I mean, well, I guess it's, I mean, to me, it's like, why just this election to want to leave? I mean, what's wrong with you that it's because Obama comes in being a president that you want to just go, hey, I'm dropping out. Obamacare, everybody gets health care. Oh, get me out of here. Bring me a new constitution. And I guess they're saying that the Constitution's okay, but they're going to go with the Constitution, and they're going to call it 2.0 Constitution. Is that kind of like, you know, upgrading your software? Like we had 1.0, we had 2.0. Maybe eventually we'll get to 7.5. But then again, you'll probably like lose part of your add-ons, and which, you know, I mean, where do we go from here? I mean, what is this? What's really great about this country that I feel that we were a hope, maybe to the rest of the world, which we were an experiment. America is an experiment. It's kind of like, let Mikey try it. Let Mikey try cereal, see if they make it. If they make it, maybe we can all adopt it. But basically, we're a collection of states governing our own selves underneath the Union of the United States with no borders. But now we say it's like a bad thing. Well, you know what? It's like we don't like you anymore. It's like well, I don't want your rules. It's like being in a relationship. It's like, well, you know what? I want a divorce. Well, it's probably going to cost you.
I don't know anything about government. Luckily, Terry Joyce does, and she tells me what to think, say, and do. Terry Joyce was a carnival freak for years. I'm not wearing any pants, and Terry Joyce is going to fight for my right to get them back. That's why I'm asking you to watch the Hollywood Hemptress Hour with Terry Joyce. Trust me, I medicate.
Dejay Kuti with the Patient Advocacy Network online right now. Hello, Dejay.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So, so what's going on? What's happening in the news of marijuana?
Well, here in Los Angeles, it's been really interesting. In addition to the large national elections, there's also been like local neighborhood council elections here in the city. And, there was, our good friend Tim, who's been on the show with us, Tim Ryder.
Been on the show recently. He was running for office, yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if he's been on since the election.
No, I need to bring him back.
Yeah, no, for sure, because it's been an exciting ride, and I kind of watched it all, develop and then happen. So, he was on the inside looking out, and I was kind of on the outside looking in, and it became a very contentious issue because initially what Tim had sought to do is one of his campaigning techniques was to go to the collectives and inform the patients that they were stakeholders because they were members of a collective, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, the neighborhood council caught wind of this, and this wasn't the only campaigning he was doing. He campaigned at the college, and he campaigned at different businesses and things because there's this whole issue of stakeholderism, right?
Yes.
It's one thing to be a registered voter for, actual, certified elections. But on this neighborhood council level, it's about stakeholderism. And certainly a member of an organization as within the boundaries of a neighborhood is considered a stakeholder. Mm-hmm. But Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council decided to contest it. And they actually asked for an opinion from the city attorney's office. And while no one from the council I can't seem to get the name of the city attorney who wrote it, because the only thing I have is an email from someone within the Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council who pulled a quote from said letter and said this is what they had to say. And it basically was saying that the collectives were illegal businesses and therefore the patients were not legitimate stakeholders and could not vote.
Yes.
And
around that, didn't they? Because I know that they said, well, even if you go and buy coffee at Starbucks, you still qualify to
right.
be a stakeholder because you still put money into Eagle Rock.
And so, here comes this snowball that gets going that, there are different definitions of stakeholderism. And yes, being a consumer in a neighborhood makes you a stakeholder. And it's very interesting. Our beloved Richard Kearns used to give talks on stakeholderism, and
Richard Kearns, can you let our listeners know who? The viewers may not know who Richard Kearns was or is.
He is the beloved Richard Kearns, and they can find him on our blog.
Okay.
And and he would say, I'm right here, right now, in your community, talking about an issue important to me. And I partake in the medical cannabis collectives in this community and kind of defining that whole issue of stakeholderism. And so, what happened is a bunch of people came into the neighborhood and I guess, bought a cup of coffee and took their receipt across the street and voted. I certainly was one of them.
Oh my
God. Because, what has gone on with the Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council and Michael Larson and Councilmember Jose Huizar has just been absolutely scandalous.
Yes, absolutely.
No, they have basically perjured themselves. They have lied to create false reports against collectives.
That's right.
With this whole attitude that make as many complaints as possible and that will help shut them down.
Yes.
And so of course I wanted to go down there and support. But it created this snowball and this alleged fake flyer that the only person who had a copy of this flyer was Michael Larson. And for the listeners, he is the former president of the Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council and is kind of a frenemy of Jose Huizar on this whole medical marijuana issue. But they've got basically a similar crusade going on.
So my question, DJ,
And
how many people actually showed up? I heard that there was a really large turnout that they were not expecting that came and voted.
well,
you know about how many that was?
my understanding at the previous neighborhood council election, about 80 people showed up.
Okay.
And for this one, it was almost 800.
Wow. Huge.
And right, and it was for both sides. So, you know, when you look at the way the votes were split, I mean, it was obvious that not only did Tim Ryder and his green slate get out there and do their work, but so did the, you know, prohibitionist crusaders go out there, and they obviously got their friends to come out and buy a cup of coffee as well.
Oh, they played on the other side of the fence. I didn't realize that.
Right. I mean, it was pretty obvious that it was a big showdown. And
what I love about it is that it's like marijuana's wrong, but caffeine, the drug, is okay. You know, I mean, there's still a drug involved with it. I don't know. I find that kind of interesting.
Right. You know, yeah, for sure. You know, and it was just real interesting to see this. And then the big thing, I mean, all the way to this making CNN news.
Really? I didn't know it was CNN news.
Thing about this flyer, this fake flyer, that's all anybody will really refer to it. The day after the election, this flyer shows up as a JPEG photograph, like somebody's holding the flyer like it's been unfolded. You can see it's a wrinkled piece of paper, crease in the middle kind of thing. It's, you know, somebody's taken a picture of this flyer, and it tells people when and where to vote and who to vote for, and it says bring in proof of vote and get $40 worth of medical marijuana free. And there was no address of who to go to. There was no sponsor for the flyer, nothing. And it looked, you know, I mean, you
like
look
it was doctored, or that it wasn't real. They're trying to say that, like, we're bribing marijuana to
the
get them
language
basically.
was awkward. Everything about the flyer was awkward. I mean, you read that flyer, and then you read any coupon that you can find in any issue of the Gem or any other LA medical marijuana magazine or
Back
website.
at the LA Weekly, you know, right?
Right.
And they still do advertising, don't they?
And this just was not, I mean, and the fact that it didn't tell you where to go to get it.
Yeah.
And I, myself, and multiple other people, we really pounded the bushes with, has anyone else seen this? Did anyone hand this to you? Do you have a copy of this? Do you know of a dispensary that honored it? And nobody. The only person who has seen this flyer is Michael Larson.
Okay. You know what?
Okay.
But today we've run out of time. That's just fun. That's just scandalous. Thank you so much for doing the show.
People can sign up at cannabissaveslives.org to get our emails. So you can get that link to the CNN video and all these things that are going on, because it is sociologically, it's very interesting to watch the battle for legalizing marijuana.
That's right. It is. It's an ongoing saga, and it's a saga that DJ Kuti for the Compassion Flower Report is covering all the time, every week here at Hollywood Hemptress Hour. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Some chicks find date rape jokes offensive, and I say you haven't been date raped enough. You need to make it to the other side to where it's funny. Let go of it. Start doing comedy, improv. It's like therapy on stage. I'm a total bitch if I go like a few months without doing comedy. All my shit just ends up coming out. Because you know what? I'm kind of jaded and disenfranchised by showbiz, and I really do comedy now for me. It's totally for me. You know, I set different goals on stage, and If you saw my awkward vampire set at the Muse, that set was totally for me. And although it did send me into a 2-day drinking binge, I'm over that now. I got a lot of valuable, information and support from the comedians that I called through my 2-day drinking binge after that vampire set. I was really proud of myself for just sticking to it. That had been my goal that night. As a comedian, sometimes my goal, kind of like tonight, is I'm just going to get up there and say whatever the fuck, Not have a plan outside. I mean, I took some notes, and I thought about it. Because I didn't want a generic answer, Like, I'm sure all comics, we have to do this. There's no way you would choose to do this. It's like this, it's scarier than bungee jumping sometimes. Like, this is all me. You can go to a play, somebody else wrote this words, you have a director directing you. You do comedy, this is like, it's raw. This is fucking me, bitches. I'm in your face. I'm in your face. Like, and then, some of your bad times in life, like those 2 weeks I did in LA County Jail, Twin Towers, the set that I did after that was like pure magic. It was the best that I ever did, and if I wasn't a comedian, I don't know how I would have been able to express all those things that I learned in jail. Where else are you going to get the line, I would slap the warden for that bitch? That is true love. That's jail love, y'all.
We're back with Hollywood Hemptress Hour, and our special guest today is January Thomas. January, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's an honor. I'm thrilled.
Absolutely. Just so that the viewers know, I let them know who you were. January Thomas is a stand-up comedian, and our history is that we also produced a show called American Hemptress together down in Los Angeles. We opened up at the Berkeley Clinic in Los Angeles, and we have a history of being marijuana activists together. And then as time went on, January met a man named Henry Hemp, who also is very involved in creating awareness in the community about not just, marijuana, but what the hemp plant does and what it can do for the planet. And you guys met and got married, or no, are you married yet?
We are not officially married. I mean, we might as well be. Live together. Our daughter turned 1.5 years old today. We were engaged before we found out I was pregnant, and then just, finances and things, a wedding and paperwork is less important, We're just busy raising our daughter, and we'll worry about a wedding later.
Yeah, I kind of think that marriage is just sort of it's a societal institution, really, in a way. It's more about money, right? Sometimes, yeah. I don't know.
Yes, although with his new job and his benefits, maybe we'll be getting married sooner than we thought. We'll see.
Yeah, see, I mean, now you're going to have more of a reason to make that union happen because there's been, those kind of benefits are involved with it. So you got married. And then you guys kind of, you became somewhat of a monopoly together and became like Mrs. Hemp and then the whole Hemp family. And then, you do stand-up. And just recently you were on a reality television show about moms who smoke marijuana. And so, I'm very excited to have having you on the show. So now, give us a little bit of background of just how you feel about marijuana and what was the experience like about being on the show about the moms?
My history with marijuana, I've known about cannabis my whole life. My dad's a stoner from way back. He's a stand-up comedian. His name is Bill Bronner. I was, I was very aware that he smoked. My mom and I moved back to the South when I was around 10 years old, and there I was brainwashed by the Just Say No program and the DARE program and given all the pamphlets on the dangers of weed, experience my own, like, elementary, junior high school reefer madness. I actually I tried to have an intervention with my dad when I was 13 to get him to quit smoking pot.
And that's hilarious to me because, like, I know your dad, too. So, I mean, how did that go down when you tried to do an intervention on Bill?
Oh, not well at all. My dad went to law school and is a comedian, so he's a very good speaker. He's very articulate. He's a good arguer. He pretty much just shot down my intervention with him and said that's ridiculous, you know. And he was the first person that actually pointed out this just statistic to me that no one has ever died from cannabis use, and that it's not addictive, you know, and that he uses it medically, you know, that it helps his asthma. So I wouldn't say that I bought that at the time when I was 13 because that went against everything that I'd been brainwashed.
Yeah.
And slowly as I grew up, I learned more things, and then I learned, you know, about Prop 215, which the anniversary was just this last week. I learned about that when I was in high school, and that's, I guess, the first time I realized that there was true medicinal value to what I had been taught was a drug. And I never actually partook of the medicine myself until after I was 18 and had already graduated high school. And I liked it, and I enjoyed it. My dad sat down with me when I was 15 and said, January, you're in high school. I know you're going to parties. I would much prefer you to utilize cannabis as opposed to drinking alcohol. And at the time, like any typical teenager, I rebelled. You know, I was like, forget you, Dad. I'm going to drink beer.
I'm going to smoke the pot, Dad.
You and your reefer, get it away from me, Dad. Square, I'll take some Mad Dog and some Boone's Farm, with all those awful things. And then when I finally smoked weed when I was 18, I realized, I would say it was an epiphany. You know, I was like, oh, okay, maybe my dad was right about this. Maybe he's right about other stuff,
Father
too.
knows best, right?
Yeah. And then it evolved from there. You know, I personally would have considered myself a recreational user until about 7 years ago. My first husband passed away. His name was Warren Thomas. He was a stand-up comedian. And after that, I got prescribed, you know, all this kind of crazy Zoloft, Wellbutrin, you know, Ambien to help me sleep, Ativan to help me calm down, all those psych drugs to deal with my loss and sorrow and mourning. Mm-hmm. And I was told by my doctors that for the medicine to work properly, I needed to not smoke cannabis, I needed to not drink alcohol or do anything else. So I went
just be a zombie on their drugs.
Yeah, just be a zombie on the drug. Don't utilize anything else. And that helped me. I think that I needed to be numb for a little bit to get some time and distance from that.
Yeah.
You know, but after 4 months of being on these drugs, and I mean, from my morning and stuff, I couldn't eat. I just had no appetite. I had gotten really thin. After 3 months of being on this medicine, on these crazy psych drugs, I gained like 40 pounds. And I had no sex drive.
Oh, that's horrible. I mean, that would make me stop right there. I mean, what, I'm going to get fat? Okay, no way.
Yeah, I'm going to get fat and not want to have sex. I'm more depressed now. Right. Yeah. And I was switching purses one day, and I found this like a miracle little nugget of weed in a purse that I hadn't used, you know, in a year or so. And I took a hit of it. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to try this. I took a hit of it, and it was the first time in 4 months that I had smiled or laughed or enjoyed music. And it was that same day I quit taking all the medications. I was like, okay, I'm through that. I'm done with that now. And I'm back to just being a medical cannabis patient. You know, it's far less harmful on your body. It's not filled with crazy drugs or, you know, like Ambien to sleep. People go sleep driving and do crazy stuff on that drug, you know? Weed's just going to make you sleep really good and maybe have some funny dreams, you know?
Yeah. So would you say that, I mean, do you smoke every day, or how often do you actually partake?
I do. I am an everyday smoker. I think that it's, you know, it's a right, and it's part of our communion with the earth, sacraments, you know. For me, I have early onset arthritis. Like I said, I've previously been prescribed psych drugs, which make me a zombie, and I'm not a functioning human being on those type of drugs. The cannabis helps with my insomnia problem, helps with my joint problems when it's rainy in Los Angeles like it is today with my early onset arthritis. I'm probably going to have wrist surgery soon. So I definitely utilize cannabis. I would say like 3 to 4 times a day.
Do you know, I mean, do you also do, how about edibles? Do you use edibles for certain reasons or not, or is it all?
I do use edibles. I feel that edibles help intensify the effects of the smoking or vaporizing, however you're choosing. And I feel that edibles are a safer thing for me to do during the daytime, being a mom, you know. We teach our daughter the truth about cannabis, that it's a medicine and a plant, but we don't smoke indoors around her, you know, so sometimes I'll utilize an edible if I'm, you know, caring for my daughter. I'll eat part of a cookie in front of her and not share with her.
Right. You know, probably, how come I can't have that chocolate chip cookie that Mommy's having right now?
It's a little not fair sometimes, but you just got to make sure you have non-medicated cookies around, too, that are probably healthier. Non-GMO, organic, non-medicated cookies for the baby.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I almost called you DJ for some reason. That's like really weird. It's been a long day for me. DJ. So, January, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to show a clip of you, and then we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, some moms go the traditional route to cure what ails them, but others are using something much different, something much more taboo, and they say it actually makes them better moms.
It helps many others eat what they need to, yeah.
January Thomas from Koreatown is mom to 16-month-old Zena. But she's no ordinary mom. She medicates 3 to 4 times a day with marijuana, also known medically as cannabis.
I have early onset arthritis, and I'm going to have wrist surgery soon. For me, I'm a medical cannabis patient, so I prefer cannabis over Vicodin or Percocet or Tylenol 3 over, you know, I feel it's a natural pain reliever, and I feel better using it. I feel it's safer on my body. Marijuana, said Dr. Eden, is used for many reasons. Like many plants, it can be a medicine or a drug.
January and her fiancé are marijuana activists and believe that education begins at home.
We talk about the plant cannabis. We have a book, it's called It's Just a Plant, and it teaches her how it's medicine. But I don't smoke around my daughter indoors because secondhand smoke is bad.
January thinks it's a misconception that good moms don't use marijuana and that those who do are irresponsible.
Moms that utilize cannabis hold jobs, office jobs, you know, do the PTA.
She says she doesn't smoke joints or use marijuana vaporizers in front of the baby, but she will eat marijuana-infused foods, like this macaroni and cheese with cannabis oil.
We're back with January Thomas, who is a stand-up comedian, a marijuana activist, and she just recently came out on television admitting that she is a marijuana mom. So now that's one thing I'd like to ask you about is, now how did you get, because like you really full-on came out, was there a fear factor that that you might be targeted, or because I know like some people like they actually have children taken away from them if they're associated with marijuana or being a marijuana user. Was there any fear of that for you at all?
Oh, for sure. But I think if it's
not a little scary, then you're not really trying to change the world, you know. There was some fear. I do know people that have had their children taken away. During my pregnancy, utilized cannabis. It was something we were trying to keep personal and private. I definitely didn't utilize cannabis like I did prior to being pregnant. Mm-hmm. And we were actually visited by CPS in the hospital the day that my daughter was born, a year and a half ago today.
And you were visited by who?
By Child Protective Services while I was in the hospital.
Oh.
After I had just given birth.
Well, how did that...
Because I tested positive for cannabis.
Oh, my.
So we had already dealt with CPS. They opened up an investigation from us, on us. We were very lucky. We had this fantastic attorney represent us pro bono. She's located in Glendale. The law firm that she works for, they support medical cannabis. Mm-hmm. And evidently in the Child Protective Services family courts, they see cannabis like the same as they view cocaine or crack cocaine or heroin. They see it on the same schedule, same level. So we were able to help educate some people. I did have to quit utilizing cannabis for 3 months because I chose to breastfeed. We showed them our recommendations. I had my doctor is a very prominent doctor who testifies for people in court, Dr. Eidelman, who's located in Hollywood. Very reputable, knew that I was pregnant, addressed the issues that cannabis was a safer alternative for me during my pregnancy than any other medications that I would be prescribed if I wasn't utilizing cannabis. So we did kind of give into the system. Our attorney advised us. She said, this is an investigation. We just need to get this closed because if they open a case on you, they can interrupt your life or your child's whole life. They can come into your house whenever they want to, basically. So luckily, I quit smoking cannabis. They made me and my fiance take drug tests at the end of the 3 months, and our case was closed. But it was very scary still to do the interview. It was actually a local CBS 2 News interview that aired, mm-hmm. And it was about marijuana moms. So there was definitely some fear. And then I heard that it had gotten picked up nationally by Yahoo News and the AP, and that caused a little bit of an anxiety attack for me, for sure. Because some people don't understand this, but like I said, it's not a little scary, or if you're not upsetting some people, you're not really trying to change the world for the better. So, you know.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to come out and say, well, I believe this. I'm not gonna follow the system. Because I don't believe that it's serving us correctly, and so I feel that this is a safe thing for me to do during my pregnancy or being a mother and medicating myself. And I feel I think sometimes I feel like what you might be saying, and this is how I would feel, is like I am more functional and more present for whatever ails me to medicate this way than if you were to give me Ativan or something. Because then, I feel like then I would have an addiction. Then I would, that would be more dangerous to a fetus or anything else that would be happening. So that's interesting. I didn't even know that you got checked out like that.
It was very scary, and only because of that did we choose to talk about my cannabis use during mm-hmm. pregnancy. And we talked about us being visited by CPS and more the people that we need to know more about medical cannabis. We heard from mothers that were medical cannabis patients in medical states, and were afraid to go have their children. Were afraid to go have their children in hospitals because they didn't want to go through the same thing. And let me tell you this: if I would have not been in hospital when I had my daughter, we probably both would have died if I would have had a home birth. Really? So it's something really scary and really dangerous, and moms should not be afraid to go to hospitals and seek medical care because they're afraid their children are going to get taken away because they utilize a plant instead of some pharmaceutical BS. It's a ridiculous thing in this world that dichotomy exists.
And, I read in, Jack Hare's book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes, that it had been used for childbirth. It was actually used to aid delivery, and now when you go into the healthcare system that personally I feel is archaic. I feel that we have a healthcare system that that it has old ways of treating people. And I don't know, do you feel that way? I mean, because I don't even, to be honest with you, I hope that I'm never sick. That's why I have to be there, because I feel that when I go there, I'm going to be sicker.
Oh, for sure. And they don't even like to tell you any type of natural cures. You know, my daughter had like a spider bite abscess on her tushy like a month ago, and we took her to the doctor, and they wanted to put her on, well, actually she is still on the antibiotics. They put her on a sulfa antibiotic to cut down the infection, and I'm trying to ask them for some natural remedies, some natural cures, some natural topical things, some just things that she could eat that would help boost her immune system to fight this, and they had nothing for me. They're just like, oh, just give her this antibiotic and make sure she drinks water with it. Well, you know, anytime you take an antibiotic like that, you're ruining the flora and fauna balance in your body, and, you know, now poor little baby has like a yeast infection, a little rashy down there, you know, from being on antibiotics for already 2 weeks now.
Wow.
And they don't even look at any type of homeopathic options. There should be, along with the pharmaceutical stuff, there should be natural pamphlets, you know, and we shouldn't be getting vaccines shoved down our throat. It is really archaic and bizarre. We have not vaccinated our daughter either yet. And I'm not sure if we ever plan on getting her vaccinated. The more and more research I do about modern vaccines today, the more discouraged I am from doing it. And I know that once upon a time, vaccines were very important in our society, but I don't trust corporations anymore that are in charge of our health care and that are in charge of the dosages and the mercury in them, and how they're preserving these, and how they're being stored, and how they're trying to mesh 5 vaccines into one. You know, it's just a lot on a little tiny baby. I believe in Mother Nature's remedy is best, and we'll stick to what she planned.
So as your daughter grows up, how is it that, I mean, I know that you communicate with her now about the plants and everything like that, but what age would you recommend your daughter, you know, start to smoke cannabis? Or what would be acceptable for you as a parent?
You know, I said this in my news interview, too. I do believe that a person's brain should be fully developed before you start trying to utilize things like cannabis. I mean, obviously, if, God forbid, knock on wood, if she were to get sick and need some hemp oil, I would 100% give that to her, you know. But as far as a recreational or experimenting with it or trying it, I would hope that she would wait until her brain is fully developed, and hopefully until she's at least, you know, of legal age. Hopefully it'll be legally recreational, available in California by the time she's 18. And
hopefully.
Yeah, since, you know, Washington and Colorado are leading the way, hopefully we'll be there soon.
Absolutely. So now, what do you have going on planned for now? Do you and Henry Hemp have any plans? I mean, are you working on any projects together? Activism? I've noticed that there's been a cartoon with you guys. Is there still a cartoon and the Hemp family empire still in the works?
Yes, Henry Hemp issue number 2 comic book is about to be published. We are selling advertising right now, and the artwork just got done by it. Our artist also did some art for you. His name is Mike Tucker. He's a 5th-generation cotton farmer in Tennessee.
Yeah, he did my caricature too.
Yeah,
Mike,
and a hemp activist. His family would much rather grow hemp than cotton because hemp doesn't deplete your soil. You don't have to use pesticides with hemp like you do cotton. You don't have to crop rotate. So I think he's like an amazing guy, and he just saw artwork and story. It just got finished for the 2nd comic book. It should probably be out, I would imagine, by the 1st of December, 1st of January. And as far as activism, you know, this is a slow time because it's winter. We don't really have any huge plans coming up. Henry Hemp is doing a comic book signing of the Henry Hemp comic book number 1 in San Jose sometime in the next few weeks. If you go to henryhemp.com, you can stay on top of that. Henry Hemp will be at the Green Fest this coming weekend at the Los Angeles Convention Center downtown, working with Dr. Bronner's Magic All-One Soaps. I will be making an appearance down there just to see what type of cool new green stuff is available out there in the marketplace. And other than that, we're just really excited. We have a friend who is a little bit of a prepper and has invited us to his off-the-grid home to spend the holidays for what could possibly be, hopefully, an enlightening, awakening time, December 21st, 2012. But if some bad shit goes down, we're going to be hooked up with a person who has a well and a generator, and we've been invited to spend the end of the world at his house. So I think we're just kind of, get busy for the holidays, doing a few comedy shows here and there, doing some activism, and camping out for the end of the world. And hopefully we'll see you guys in 2013.
We hope so, too. And if we survive 2013, January Thomas and I are looking to revive American Hemptress and also do some performing together for the cause. I want to thank you so much for calling in today, and and peace be with you guys.
Thank you so much, Terry, and thank you for everything that you do, and it's been a blast being on Hollywood Hemptress with you.
Thank you.
All right, peace and love.
Okay, peace and love. That was January Thomas with Marijuana Moms, and we will be right back. Stay tuned.
People call me the Martha Stewart of marijuana. I was one of the founding members of the National Cannabis Industry Association.
Cheryl Schumann has been medicating with cannabis since 1996, when medical marijuana first became legal in California. Over the years, she's relied on it to fight her cancer, chronic pain, and asthma.
And so I started using it, and literally, I went from being prescribed 27 different pharmaceuticals to one little plant.
She's very involved in the $1.7 billion cannabis industry and educates other medical marijuana patients on the laws and different products available to them, like these vaporizers called Cannasigs. The company provides them to her for free in exchange for promoting them.
You've got your atomizer together here. The medication is in here, and you just screw it in. And ta-da! You're ready.
Cheryl says one 30-second inhale from a Cannasig is the equivalent to smoking a joint, and there's no secondhand smoke or odor.
If you have someone that can't smoke, doesn't have a vaporizer, or specifically a lot of cancer patients, they literally will choose to use the cannabis in their meal. I think I'm going to try the scallops,
On this night, these Southland moms all met Chef Fred, who prepared seared scallops, pasta, chicken, and strawberry shortcake, all infused with cannabis oils containing THC extracted from the marijuana plant.
So anything that you can make with oil or butter, that can be mashed potatoes, that can be chocolates, that can be cakes, cookies.
I have never seen a 4-course meal made with cannabis tinctures and oil.
On the line, calling in from Colorado. She is the author of G-licious Dishes. She's a regular here. No, she's the author of Gonjalicious, a higher level of food, and she's doing her segment G-licious Dishes regular here on Hollywood Hemptress Hour. Wow. Okay, there's just so much luscious dishes, higher. Okay. I have to smoke cannabis to get everything straight. No.
Yeah.
So Shiloh, welcome back to the show. Thank you for being here. This recipe, though, is not in your book. You're only going to find it here on the show and on her blog. And this is also something that you can use for the holidays. So what do we have cooking today, Shiloh? What's our recipe?
We have an amazing, most awesome, what I call a marshmallowy Captain Crunch extravaganza.
Mmm.
And
Crunch.
I know, right, Captain Crunch, and I like the berries, the different like little round pellets of berries that it's still crunch. Yes, it's one of my favorite cereals, which is why I designed this recipe. And it's amazingly easy and takes no bake time, and from start to finish you can be eating these treats in 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Mm.
Yeah, super easy, and it's an amazing holiday treat. I'm telling you, you can take this to any party, but to holiday parties especially, to any event, and they will go like hotcakes, actually even better. So how this goes is you get one package of regular white marshmallows. I would get the bigger ones because they're, or the little ones, whichever you prefer. And you put 1 cup of Ganja butter into the saucepan, and then you add your marshmallows, and you stir them until it all melts together. And it'll kind of like do the separation, but you just keep stirring until it's all incorporated, and once it's all incorporated in one like beautiful green ball of marshmallow, take it off the heat and add 6 to 8 cups of Captain Crunch berry, and you add another bag of marshmallows, the little pretty colored ones, the pink and the green and the white, and they're mini. So then you add that to the melted marshmallows, so it kind of all stirs together. And then as you mix it all together, make sure that all the gooiness of the marshmallows covers all the cereal. And you put that into a baking pan that is lined with plastic, and I really suggest that you line your pan with plastic. I don't care if they say greased. Go ahead and line it with some plastic, and it'll help the whole exiting from the pan.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's the hardest part of once it's in the pan, you're just like, oh, no, it's all stuck to the bottom, and it doesn't come out in the pretty squares that it's supposed to. So line your bottom with plastic, and then put your cereal, your gooey cereal on top, and pat it down with put some oil or butter on your hands so it doesn't stick, and make sure they're nice and tight. And then you let it cool, which takes like 5 to 7 minutes. And then it's ready to cut, and then it's ready to eat. And oh my God, I just had one of those this afternoon, and they're divine.
Wow, nice.
Drink them with a glass of milk, a cup of hot chocolate. Anyone drink, and very tasty.
Wow, it makes me, like you just explaining it, and I feel mellow for some reason. I'm just like, oh, nice.
They call me mellow yellow.
No, I have a question.
With a crunch.
Yeah, he called me mellow yellow.
I don't like the Rice Krispies so much. The crunch is better for me.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I have a question. Now you have kids. I mean, you raise children
Sure.
with you and your partner. Now, do you have to make some special little treats for them that aren't medicated so that they can be part of? Do you do stuff like that?
I almost never cook medicated food when they are in the house because I go to school. So
okay.
It's generally like if I'm making some medicated dishes for either myself or friends or whatever, I usually do the cooking when they're not here. But we have made these treats, unmedicated.
Uh-huh.
And another, great thing about the book is all of the recipes in my book are just as good, just with, without the oil, the medicated oil. You can just substitute it for regular oil, and they're really great recipes and very family friendly because it's mostly about comfort food. They remind us of comfortable, warm places.
Yeah, very nice. That's good to know. That's good to know that the book, and that would make sense that you could either use it, you could make it the way it is, or you can use it as with cannabis in as well. Well, and where can we find this recipe at?
You can find this recipe at ganjalicious.com on my blog, and it will also be in the recipe section. And that's it. You can't find it in my book. You can't find it anywhere else because I just invented this weekend.
Oh, that's great. Well, you know what? Find out what she just invented this weekend and go get that recipe. And we wish you the best holiday out there, for this year of 2012. We're not sure. This might be, I wonder,
well, the end of the world might be
I
coming.
know, I wonder if this is going to air after the end of the world. I don't know. If that happens,
you have to air this one before. You have to air this one before, because if there is an end of the world, a lot of people need to be making this dish to finish it off.
That's right.
What I say.
Before you go into the fourth dimension and maybe you don't even eat food anymore, at least get this recipe before you check out.
Right. This is the time, I mean, if there's no other, this is the time. If you haven't done it since the 60s, go ahead and try it again.
Right.
The end of the world is coming. Nobody will tell.
Just right when we legalize marijuana, the world ends. What's up with that, right? For recreation use. Well, thank you so much for calling in with the recipe. You're always a joy on the show, and we wish you happy holidays and a happy new year. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sarah. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we wish you happy holidays and a happy new year whenever you're watching the show. If you're watching it in 2016, if it's 2016, we wish you another happy one, a happy, happy, happy. We want to thank everybody for being on the show today. We'd like to thank Dejay Kuti for calling with the Compassion Flower Report. Also, January Thomas, a stand-up comedian who is a mom who came out openly on television saying that she is a cannabis user and prefers to use it over other medications. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.